#1 champ right now. Who do you want and when do you want it?
We got to fight the champ. Set it up. Me and Devin, we can lock in. After he fight Cambosis, let's get it on.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So when Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney took this picture, no doubt they envisioned they would be the most dominant force in the sport of boxing one day. And you fast forward to present day, and that's exactly what they are. Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, no doubt, are the most complete and the most skilled fighters of their generation when it comes to the new generation of fighters. Devin Haney is the youngest undisputed champion in the sport of boxing, and he's the first undisputed champion in the lightweight division since Pernell Whitaker. Not to mention, arguably, the most avoided fighter in the entire sport. Devin also is the only undisputed champion that nobody has really called out. And when I say call out, I don't mean a reporter asking a fighter, do you want to fight Devin Haney? I mean voluntarily saying, I want Devin Haney, I want him next. The same way Devin Haney used to call out Teofimo, call out Lomachenko, call out Cambosis and whoever else, right? No one does that when it comes to Devin Haney. That's how avoided he is. And he has all of the belts. And no one dares to call out the champion. But there is somebody really, really dangerous, just as dangerous as Devin Haney, that's moving up to 135, and of course that's Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson, surprisingly, leading up to this fight, he was saying he wanted the Lomachenko fight, but for some reason, after the fight, when they asked him who he wanted next, he said everybody. But the way the reporter Bernardo Usana phrased the question, he said, who do you want next? There's only one champion. Of course, instead of just calling Devin Haney the undisputed champion, but more importantly, you could clearly tell that Bernardo, he had his agenda along with the rest of ESPN. They really don't want to see Shakur fight Lomachenko. In fact, leading up to this fight, there was only one fighter that Shakur was calling out, and that was Lomachenko. He was going to move to 135. He wanted the Lomachenko fight. Now, during the broadcast, ESPN, Mark Kriegel, they continued to say over and over and over again, it's going to be very difficult for Shakur to get the Lomachenko fight now that he lost his belts on a scale at 130. Now, even though Shakur, he did screw up when he lost his WBO belt because that would have made him the mandatory once he moved up. But even without the belts, it really comes down to Lomachenko. Listen, the plan is for Devin Haney to fight Lomachenko next. But if Devin Haney, for whatever reason, can no longer make weight at 135, he's going to move up to 140. And if that happens, it's up to Lomachenko if he wants to fight Shakur Stevenson. It won't even have anything to do with Shakur being a mandatory or not. If Lomachenko accepts the fight can happen. So when ESPN was saying it's going to be very difficult for Shakur Stevenson to get a Lomachenko fight now, what they really meant is they don't know if Lomachenko will take a Shakur Stevenson fight because Shakur is such a dangerous opponent. You see, with ESPN, what they were really doing is they were blowing a dog whistle to Lomachenko, telling him, you don't have to fight this guy. Now that he lost his belts, you can use that as an excuse to avoid him. That's what they were really saying. I mean, the Shakur having no belts excuse, it doesn't make sense because Lomachenko's next opponent is his sparring partner, and he has no belts. So getting back to the ESPN reporter, Bernardo Usana, he's asking Shakur Stevenson, who do you want to fight next? He says at 135, he says there's Haney, Cambosis, Loma, and Tank. Now, first of all, since ESPN has Lomachenko on their pound-for-pound list and they don't even have Devin on their list, I would have expected him to drop Lomachenko's name first. But he mentioned Haney's name first, and once again, he told Shakur Stevenson there's only one champion at 135. So who do you want to fight?
135 pounds. You're in there now. Names like Haney, names like Cambosis, Loma, Tank. What do those guys mean to you?
Shout out to all my Puerto Rican fans. I love y'all too. I appreciate y'all for supporting me and taking me in like I'm one of y'all child too. But other than that, everybody at 135 got to get it.
Who do you want next?
Anybody.
You were a champion. You stepped on that scale a champion. You stepped off that scale no longer a champion. So there's only one champ right now. Who do you want and when do you want him?
We got to fight the champ. Set it up. Me and Devin, we can lock in. After he fight Cambosis, let's get it on.
He's got Loma probably after that. Is that a fight that interests you if he's able to get past that?
I'll fight Lomachenko too.
All right. And just finally.
Okay, so surprisingly, after Bernardo Usana said, who do you want to fight? There's only one champion, which is Devin Haney. Shakur Stevenson, he said he wants to fight Devin Haney. And Devin Haney responded by simply putting this emoji up. Now, there's no doubt about it. Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney is like a younger version of Terrence Crawford fighting against Errol Spence. There's no doubt about it. The fight will be huge, especially with the history they already have. You know, with the sparring footage they have on my channel that went viral, it will be a huge fight. It will be Team USA versus Team USA. But that's most likely not going to happen anytime soon because we know that if Devin Haney sticks around at the lightweight division, it's to get the Lomachenko fight. And it makes sense because, once again, ESPN and the rest of old media, they've been completely disrespecting Devin Haney by not even having him on their pound-for-pound list when he's the undisputed champion at the lightweight division, but they have Lomachenko on their list. I'm talking about ESPN. So the reason why Devin Haney took so long to sign the contract to fight Kambosos because Devin was waiting around for Lomachenko. He really wanted to make the Lomachenko fight and then move up to 140. Now that Lomachenko decided to fight his sparring partner next, Devin is going to try to wait to get that fight next. And if he can't get that fight, he's moving up to 140. So if we ever see a Shakur versus Devin Haney fight, it most likely won't be at 135. It may end up being at 130, at 140, or maybe even 147 for all we know. And that should be great news for race fans because we all know that they're always going to be rooting against Shakur and Devin, and they will definitely be rooting for Lomachenko, no matter which one he fights. So we should definitely see one of these fights. Now, once again, getting back to when I told you Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, they are definitely two of the most dominant fighters in the sport when it comes to their age. And this is why the racists are coming out, starting to talk about them the same way they used to talk about Floyd Mayweather, using code words to describe the black fighters that they feel are threats in the sport of boxing. And this is how I created the term the coincidentalist, because it's not a coincidence. The most dominant fighters in the sport of boxing that all happen to be black, from Andre Ward to Floyd Mayweather to Shakur Stevenson to Devin Haney, and the list just goes on and on and on. The more dominant they are, the more skilled they are, the more of a threat they are, the more they are disliked by non-black boxing fans. And this is what prompts these fans to call all of these black fighters boring. These are code words for what they really want to call these black fighters. I mean, do you really think it is a coincidence that the only people that are usually calling these black fighters boring are non-black fans? And they never call any non-black boxer boring? It's only used when they're describing a black boxer. They didn't call Lomachenko boring when he didn't throw a punch for 6 rounds against Teofimo Lopez. They didn't call Tyson Fury boring in the first fight with Deontay Wilder, despite the fact that the action-packed fighter was Wilder. The only fighter that was getting knockdowns in that first fight was Wilder. Tyson didn't get any knockdowns, and they still praised him. They never called him boring, because it's never been about being boring or being exciting and entertaining. They never cared if a fighter was boring or not, because if they did, they would not only be saying it about black people. What they mean when they say boring is it's boring if you're going to be the one winning. If I have to sit here and endure the pain of watching the race that I root against all the time completely win and make it look easy, that's boring because we always see you guys beat us. So when they say boring, they really mean it's disappointing because of who is winning and who is losing. I mean, it's no different than watching your favorite baseball, football, or basketball team. And you know that they're down so much to where they're most likely not going to come back and win the game. That's not fun to watch, right? It's nothing entertaining about watching your team lose. In fact, a lot of people in that situation, they'll be like, man, I don't want to watch this shit, and they'll just turn the channel. So the point is, it's definitely boring when the wrong guy is winning. And you so desperately want to see that guy lose. But yet every time you watch him, just as you suspected, he's dominating, making it look easy again. And you get to the point to where you start to fear you may never get the satisfaction of watching this guy lose, which is why they hate Floyd Mayweather more than anyone. So I want all of you guys to understand, when you see these comments, when you hear people use that word boring, that's translation for damn, another dominant, skilled, extremely talented black boxer that's going to be hard to beat. I'm going to have to sit here and watch this man win and dominate in the sport of boxing for years and years and years, like all those other dominant black boxers: Roy Jones, Pernell Whitaker, James Toney, Bernard Hopkins, Sugar Shane Mosley, to Floyd Mayweather, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and today's generation, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and the list just goes on and on and on. If this truly has something to do with being boring, then the same fans that are calling Shakur or Devin Haney boring, they would have been calling Lomachenko boring when he didn't throw punches for 6 whole rounds against Lopez. They would have at least said that was a boring fight, and it was attributed to Lomachenko not letting his hands go. If this was really about being boring, then these same fans would be calling Canelo Alvarez boring for his last performance against Gennady Golovkin, which a lot of professional boxers came out and said it was boring. So is this really a coincidence that they don't call those fighters boring, but they only call the black boxers boring? They, meaning these non-black race fans? Guys, this is what racist people do. See, racist people, they want to be racist without the title. This is why you'll notice whenever a racist person talks about how he doesn't like a particular race, they always try to justify it by creating certain stereotypes. When it comes to boxing, he's boring, he's a runner. When it comes to outside boxing, if someone is saying, oh, they're criminals, they're thugs, that alleviates their guilt when they say these things. Because if they just flat out say, I don't like them because I don't like black people, then they have to admit that they're the problem. But if you create some stereotypes and you say, no, I don't like them because they're criminals, they're thugs, they're just bad people. See, when you throw in those stereotypes, now you are masking, or you at least feel you're masking your racism. People are not seeing behind the mask once you say, this is the reason why I don't like them. And this is exactly what these race fans are doing when they call these black boxers boring. Listen, in the sport of boxing, there is only one list. That is the pound for pound list. Now, even though old media's list looks like a popularity list, the truth is there's no such thing as a popularity list. It doesn't matter how exciting you are if you're a loser. It doesn't matter how exciting you are if you're not the best. Not to mention, like I told you guys before, we know this is all cap when they even call these fighters boring, because the numbers don't lie. And when it comes to fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, these are some of the most watched fighters in the sport of boxing, because they all know that these fighters, once again, have the potential to become pound for pound the best fighters in the world, which is why they use these code words to describe them. And I made this video because I want to educate everyone. I want all of you guys to know, when you see those words like boring, now you guys know the complete translation. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.